Hey everyone, and welcome back to the HOG-POD for another weekly roundup. We've got the usual suspect with me, Ben.
Evening, folks. Good to see you again.
So we're going to go straight into it rather than some big long preamble, and we've got to start it with the rear view mirror, which is, of course, Thunder in the Glens. I was unfortunately not able to make it this year, but Ben was there in full Technicolor glory. So tell us all about it.
I was actually, and I even had my leopard print Vans with me. Thunder, it was cracking. It was a really good weekend. I think, again, the organisers, given the circumstances, obviously we know that Thunder's taking a pause next year, so there was a lot of speculation about how it was going to be, what was going to happen. I think everyone would probably agree it was slightly quieter than it's been previously, but I think it was I would say probably quality over quantity in terms of who was there. Everyone that was there was making the most of it. They were like, right, let's have this. This is our last one for the next wee while. Let's get in about it. So there was a good number of chapters in attendance. The ride out, the mass ride out. My bike went on it. I didn't. But the number of bikes was phenomenal. So stood watching in between my panic of seeing another man riding my motorcycle, just clocking them going out, and it was a long time getting all those bikes out. Just good rumbles. Audience stood there along the street. Really, really exciting. I was quite jealous of not being on this year's ride out. The entertainment, everyone said that the bands were really good. They were trying some different things. They had a country section that went down really well. Few niggles about prices, but we thought that was going to happen anyway, in terms of like local food suppliers and fuel and things like that. But that's not unexpected, I don't think. Overall, though, cracking. It was Thunder. There isn't much else like it in the UK, I think. So,
yeah, I think obviously we spoke about it a couple of episodes ago, so we won't go back into it. But it's definitely. It's going to be missed, isn't it? But I've got to ask this. Yeah. So there's rules about motorcycles. There's rules about the front seat of a motorcycle. There's most definitely rules about the back seat of a motorcycle. How on earth did some guy manage to get you off your bike and let it ride away? And how did it make you feel?
Oh, terrified is the quickest answer to that. How did it happen? So I have a habit of talking before I think sometimes. That might come as a shock to a lot of people. So about 2 months before Christmas, of like the Christmas just gone, I had a phone call from somebody I'd been chatting away to the previous year at Thunder. Ben, were you serious about your offer? And it was that horrible, I can't remember what I offered. So I was like, well, put it out in the universe. I'm going to stand by what it is that I said. So I have 2 Americans that are currently staying with me. They came over, Chuck and Yvonne. And it's cracking, actually. You see, and I think that's testament to Thunder. Anyone that would pay that amount of money to travel across the world to then come and stay with a stranger to volunteer at a rally the other side of the world tells you what the sort of vibe is. But anyway, so they're staying with me, and Chuck asked if I could take him out pillion on the ride out. Not a big fan of pillioning people, if I'm totally honest. And the ride out's really busy anyway. And I tend not to ride it unless I'm marshalling it. So stupidly I said, Chuck, you can get temporary insurance. You can have my bike for the day. And as the words came out my mouth, it was that instant sort of, ooh.
Oh, no.
Ooh, I might have done something. And he managed to get temporary insurance. So when I got up to Thunder on Friday, because they went up a couple of days ahead of me, I was busy with another meeting on the Thursday. When I got there on the Friday, super excited, shows me the proof of the insurance. I'm like, cool, right, we're good. And I was fine. I was absolutely fine with it until the next day, 9 o'clock in the morning. He turns up at my hotel, running through the controls of the bike. He rides a touring bike anyway, so he knew what he was doing. And then spent the next 4 hours like an expectant father waiting for that bike to come back. But when he did come back, I think the magic of seeing somebody else that happy because of something you've managed to do for them. And he was buzzing about going on the ride out Thunder. What an experience. The demo bikes are incredible, but going out on that ride with that amount of people in this countryside there isn't anything like it. There's just not a comparator to it locally. So, yeah. It was good. It was fine. He enjoyed it. Came back in the same shape it went out, and we can laugh about it now.
I am going to be perfectly frank and say, I always admire people that can do something that I cannot, and you have my admiration. There is not a mission in the world I would let someone, and that may sound really selfish of me, but.
In my defence, like I said, though, this was operating and this hadn't figured its whole way through that journey. Yeah, it was good.
Fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you.
Yeah.
And the weather treated you all right as well in Thunder this year, didn't it?
It was fantastic. Like, you literally couldn't complain about the weather at all. And the other good thing, we obviously didn't put the order in for midgies this year, which was quite nice. You weren't getting eaten alive, which you sometimes are in Aviemore at this time of year. So no, the weather absolutely bang. A little bit of drizzle every now and then, but nothing that was going to dampen anyone's spirits. So it was good.
Sure, you're in the bloody top end of Scotland. You're going to get a little bit of water on, aren't you?
How? You've got to appreciate the green, and the green doesn't come from an arid sort of temperate place, does it? It's got to have a little bit of water to make it look that good.
I live on the island of Ireland, so yeah, the Emerald Isle, definitely. It's not a barren land, is it? Well, I was gutted I wasn't able to get there, particularly with it being the last one. I mean, whether or not it is the last one, I don't know. Certainly in that iteration.
I don't think it will be. I think I've got to say, I suppose the odd thing, you could see it in all the volunteers' faces. They weren't letting on. Do you know what I mean? But everyone was just a little bit sad. Like, they've worked and they've done this for so long. And it was this weird sort of sensation, really. I mean, I volunteered a tiny amount this year. I was on the on traffic on the Friday, which was really good fun. You get to see everyone coming in, directing them where they need to go. And I did the charity rides on the Sunday, which is phenomenal. And if Thunder comes back, that absolutely has to be part of it. But you could see it, like, the guys that have done it the entire year and put all that work in, I think they're really looking forward to just having that quick gap. And I do believe it will be a quick gap. I think Thunder will come back in some format or other, because I think they're just all too passionate about it. It's just not something that's going to disappear and fizzle out.
But someone said to me that the demo rides were at the actual rally site this year and not the Winking Owl. Is that right?
Yes, they were. So for the first year, if you've been to Thunder before, where all the traders are, there was a section of that put aside for the demo rides. And I think that made a huge, huge difference, because having the demo rides out the Winking Owl it's a cracking location. The Winking Owl do a brilliant job of putting things on, but it's not part of the rally campus. So it's always felt a little bit disjointed. So seeing those rides coming in and out of the traders village, there's people buzzing around, you can't miss it. And the big truck, like, that truck is absolutely, it's iconic, isn't it? Like, you see dealers posting up videos of the truck, and even though your bike isn't on it and you're not allowed to buy one because your wife will divorce you, you still get excited seeing that truck going into places. So seeing it in the traders village with the demo rides, and in terms of teams, like Vicky Green and Megan, they just know how to pull a group of people together, don't they? And you've got the likes of Pabs, you've got Emma Poole, you've got Matt Green, you've got Andy Day and Anthony Batsford, Duncan Moran up here. It was just a crew. They were just so chuffed to be there, and they've ridden together now for a couple of years on these demo rides, and it's just the excitement. Like, it didn't matter what time. I mean, Pabs is excited at the best of times. He's like my favourite little Spanish Labrador. But any time of day, they're happy to see you. They're answering all the questions that you've got about the bikes. And there's a lot of passing footfall. So a lot of people ride up on brands that aren't Harley-Davidson. And it's a hell of a conversion experience if you're there. Seeing that coming in and out, and seeing it go past your bike as well. If your bike's parked and you see a swish, shiny looking Harley coming past you, you can't help but look and maybe compare the two potentially.
Yeah, of course. You talked about the team there, the cracking team. And do you know what? One of my favourite people out of that has got to be Megan. She is an absolute sweetheart, that girl. Always like a ray of sunshine. Kind of like Vicky, where even on day 3 or day 4, when everyone's totally bollocks, let's be honest, they must be absolutely destroyed. Them two are always shining away.
Absolutely. And what was super exciting, and I was really sad I found out after I had the opportunity to talk to her, Megan went out on a bike. Megan rode the ride out this year under her own steam. I was like, that's cool. That is
Happy
super
days.
Cool. Yeah.
The fact that they were on site this year, do you think it was down to just logistics, or do you think there was a bit of like a show of support there, or do you think it was a bit of a change because Edinburgh weren't involved this year and it was West Coast, or come on to West Coast? But you know, because for me, and I've only been to the one. It was the one last year, so I have no experience of comparing previous ones. But to me, the demo rise being at the Winking Owl just didn't make sense. And there's obviously a reason why that's developed over the years, or certainly remained over the years. But it never made sense to me. So it was good to hear that it was on site this year. Well, how do you think that came about?
So I'm going to be totally honest, well above my pay grade or my knowledge of anything in terms of the logistics of the rally. Probably because there was a bit more space, maybe, or they had just realised it. It makes sense, doesn't it? The heart of why we're there is about Harley-Davidsons and the spirit of the Highlands. So why would you have them remote to your site? If you can get them in there, get them right in the heart of it, which they did this year really well.
Good stuff. And was Edinburgh missed, or did West Coast manage to fill boots?
So see what was actually really nice. West Coast did a cracking job. They put on, they had their tent, they had their event trailer, they had bikes there to look at, which is everything Edinburgh had done before. Just presented in a different fashion, I suppose. But what was really, and I really actually enjoyed it and loved seeing the guys there. A lot of the Edinburgh crew still came. And I think that's testament to the relationship the chapter has with the dealership, or more so actually the staff that were there, the team that were at Edinburgh Harley. They brought us into their family, we brought them into ours. So it was just lovely to see them all there. I think it was really quite emotional. I think it was quite difficult for the staff, if I'm being totally honest. They're walking around amongst their customers and everyone's asking, are you all right? Is it good? And I think for a good number of them, it was... It'll have been odd, won't it? Do you know what I mean? You walked into an environment that used to be your stomping ground. You knew everything about it, and now they're all in different places. And I'm really glad to say they're all in work, healthy, looking well. I think they're absolutely missing Harley. I don't think selling Hondas or cars or anything else that the East and Western Group has offered quite compares to the magic of selling something like a Harley. But cool to have them there. Good to catch up with them all. That was nice.
And what was the theme this year? So I was at the Ladies of Harley reception last year, and it was line dancing, which was there's a reason why fellas aren't allowed in that room, and it's Pims. To be honest with you,
you've answered your own question. Fellas aren't allowed in that room, so. I don't actually know what happened in the LOH reception. I've seen the pictures. They look like they had a cracking time. I wasn't present.
But you're a member of LOH, aren't you?
So I had this conversation quite a few times. And again, it was curiosity. Yes, I am a member of LOH because I ticked the box to see if I could. And I'm a life member, so I can't undo it. But it seems to be a real hot topic at the moment. And as to why I'm a member of LOH, what my plans are for LOH, which is nothing negative. I think it's an incredible thing. No, I'm not trying to transition so I can fully join in with LOH. It was curiosity. I ticked the box. I think it's an excellent part of HOG, and long may it continue. Just to answer all of those speculations out there. I've occasionally dressed as a woman at a rally because the fancy dress demanded it.
Yeah, and I've seen the photos of that as well.
Yeah. I didn't quite hit Freddie Mercury. I was more Nessa from Gavin and Stacey, I think.
I realised something the other week. I know you got a frantic phone call off me trying to get something out of my mind and into your mind, so we didn't forget it. And then I had to ring and speak to other people because I realised that me and you were quite similar. But obviously, as Harley-Davidson, or actually as motorcycle owners, full stop, it doesn't matter what bike you ride, you spend a lot of time looking at other people's bikes, whether it's in the flesh, in the metal, or online. And I thought, right, we're going to do Bike of the Week, which is the bike that caught my attention or caught your attention during the course of the last week, and have a bit of a chat about it. And as it turns out, we were both eyeing up the same machine, weren't we?
Well, if we want to talk about our brains being similar, yes, you sent the link to it and I had absolutely clocked it. I've been on a slight hunt for my own bike at the moment, might think about changing things. That one just stood out. There was just, for me, it was the frame. Before we get into full details, just the frame caught my eye, and then you start looking further and further. Whoever has put that together has loved that machine and done a lot of work to get it where it is.
Yeah. So if you're listening, there will be a link in the description as always. If you're watching, here it is. It is a XLH Hardtail. So it's one of the Sportster range, and it's a custom bike. So I don't know how many miles are getting done in it. It's available at Iron City Motorcycles, which is, of course, the Leeds Harley-Davidson. And if you are listening, just to describe it, it's a what you would fully expect from a custom Sportster. It's got a very, very pale green frame that's been powder coated. Even the kickstand's been done as well. The tank and the fender are this almost like pastel-y green. No suspension whatsoever on the back, hence the hardtail. And then it's got a Springer front end. And it's for less than £10,000. It's obviously not a riding bike, or it is a riding bike for someone that gets their kicks in a particular way. But obviously, as a show bike, yeah, something else I thought. I was flicking, when you flick through dozens and scores and fucking hundreds, let's be honest, of bikes, and wallop, it just stood out for me.
It stands out a mile. And I don't know, in terms of colour, I think you've done an all right job, but I think we're underselling that green. That green is a very particular, and I can't even work out the words for it at the moment. I would be somewhere around seafoam. If we're looking at the Pantones of green, it would be seafoam for me. Quite an unusual colour, I thought, for a motorcycle. Like, you'll see it a lot in sort of vintage cars and things.
Go back a second. Did you say seafoam?
I said seafoam, yes, yeah. On the Pantones
of green. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's like light green then?
Yeah, something like, yeah.
Yeah, this is Ben's education versus my my non-education. Go ahead, Ben. I just had to. It just took me a second. I was like, he said seafoam.
I did say seafoam, yes. Yeah, I'm quite specific on my colours. I used to paint things like theatre sets, and getting your colours right is really crucial. And the other thing in that, which is weird, you have to work out how it's going to react under light, which again would be a spray painter, wouldn't it? When you look at them doing their sort of, what do they call them? You get the little bit of metal, or you get the fancy shapes to get all the curvatures, and then you spray it out, shine it under a light, take it outside, pop it, and make it do everything. So I could call it seafoam, but I can't tell you the technical terms behind spray painting. But yeah, seafoam green. It's all the little touches as well. And I do believe people will ride that bike. I think there's a definite resurgence. So we joke, because you have your Quiet Livewire Deluxe, is it? Or Heritage Livewire?
I don't like
one
you.
Of the two.
I still don't like you. Why do I invite you back every week?
I love my tech. So I sit on my sofa, I've got my sat-nav, I could probably get Netflix on there in some way or other and have my tunes. And, well, everybody else has my music as well, as we've discussed lots of times. But I think there's a get back to basics for a lot of people, isn't there? And it's that just raw nakedness of nothing, including rear suspension. I think that there seems to be a bit of a pickup on that at the moment. And looking at what's trending on social media, what's on TikTok, what's on Instagram, it is all these quite what I'd describe as like a dirty bar hopper. And that bike's not dirty in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying it needs a wash. It's just that raw, let's get back to basics. We're going to go, even if you only rode 10 miles on it, it would be an experience. But I do believe there will be people that ride that style of bike. I have a friend, his name's Moo, or Martin, if he's listening. He will ride his hardtail chopper for hours. And he rode it all the way from like the northeast of England somewhere, or the north of England, sorry, all the way up to Dunoon. And I said to him, how do you do that over the distance? Just drop the rear tyre by a few PSI. There's always a way around it, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So. Soften up that rear tyre and off you go, apparently. I'm still not going to do it. I want my sat-nav. And his sat-nav, a little bit of masking tape on the tank. Important numbers written on it.
Mega. Junction 16.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Proper old school.
Yeah.
So, personally, whilst this bike caught my attention, absolutely wow, never really been into the whole custom show thing. So obviously every rally you go to, there is a custom show, however big or however small, and in whatever form, there's generally a custom bike show. But it's just not something that's ever grabbed my attention. It's obviously they're the real enthusiasts, if that's said. Did I say that right? I think I did.
I think you did, yeah. Big words, well done. Oh, you sounded out beautifully.
Days. I'm going to go back to grunting now. And people that are really keen on this whole customization thing, it's just never floated my boat at all.
it scares me more than anything. I think if you put that level of work into something, I mean, you joked about me letting somebody else ride my bike. My bike, yes, it's got bits and pieces on it, but it's fairly generic. It's a Harley. I think I would be terrified to put that amount of work into finding these one-off pieces, either fabricating them themselves or having somebody fabricate it. See the thought of taking it out onto a road and actually riding it. I think that's what puts me off more than the lack of suspension.
Yeah, I mean, this one in the lead, there'll be a wee link to this one in the description wherever you're listening or watching. It says thousands spent on it, and they have to be a loss. They have to be a loss. The amount of money, if you were to try and recoup that, it's just never going to happen, is it?
No, and I think that's an understanding when you get involved with it, isn't it? But what I would say about that particular bike, the both of us, so we both saw it, we both liked it, and it's caught our attention. Quite often, when you really heavily customize something, it's so personal to you, you have to find another person that's as mad as you are to get on board with it. But I think they've done a successful customization in terms of it's very unique. I haven't seen another bike like it. Even just the styling. So like I said to you about the frame is such an unusual thing, isn't it? When you look at it, it's not any other type of frame that I've seen. Like you get your sort of tank lifts, you get your big rakes, you get your sort of Japanese style choppers where they're very high up at the front. There's just something about that frame. It's cool, it's sleek, it looks fast going still. But I think they've done a good enough job. If they can catch two lunatics from the other side of a big puddle of water, and both of us have seen it and liked it, there will be other people like us out there. So I think,
yeah, absolutely.
Hats off to the builder.
Yeah. So if that is your thing, or even if you're actually looking at delving into the custom bike show side of Harley-Davidson, take a look at Leeds Harley-Davidson. There will be a link in below, and go and knock yourself out, because it's an absolute peach. And how that hasn't been snapped up yet, I do not know.
At that price point as well, like that amount of customization, and you are still under double figures at the starting number. It's an impressive place to be, I think.
So I was thinking about a title for this, Ben. I've come up with HOG, not HOG, which is just a way of saying some stuff to do with HOG and some stuff not to do with HOG. And when I started writing it all down, actually, I've had a busy enough week in the not HOG side of stuff. The most random one was a absolute by chance phone call with the secretary of the HDRCGB for the whole, the whole country, the secretary, who had found my number on a beer mat.
There's a story behind that, I think, somewhere. I'd be concerned about my number being on a beer mat.
Yeah, now it's an upgrade, obviously, from being on a cubicle wall, but
this is true.
It's totally random. Basically, he was looking to get in touch with the Davidson cottage, and somehow my number is floating around on a Guinness bar map down in Wales where he was. So unless it's you just firing out beer mats as well as signing me up to like Tinder and Grindr and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure that's you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got all your accounts set up for you. You'll never be sure. If you want to get into customization, Kenny, you'll be worth a fortune with the OnlyFans I've set up for you as well. You'll have all those bikes paid for.
Talking about OnlyFans, you can sell your feet.
No.
Well, actually, you can sell pictures of your feet, that is. I had a look at it, not my feet, because they've been dug up. But I was looking.
With you, and I agree.
Yeah, so that is how you pay for these bikes. Is you sell pictures of your feet.
Okay.
So you take requests. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this because you obviously haven't been looking at it. So I went down a rabbit hole about feet. Okay, horrid things, but I got fascinated by how people make money on feet. And apparently they get requests. So, for example, I want a picture of your foot with red nail varnish in a shopping trolley. And they go out and they take this picture and then they sell it.
I'll take your word for it. Carry on.
Yeah. So I thought what we could do is we could have a special bikers one where we could say, want a picture of your foot coming out of a riding boot after 10 hours in the saddle and no shower.
Yeah.
There's a market for it.
No. I'll take your word for that again. I have no idea what you're talking about because my mom listens to this podcast.
So yeah, anyway, got chatting to the secretary of the HDR-CGB, and I started having a bit of a delve around what they are and what they're all about. So, because to be perfectly honest, I had absolutely no idea, and it appears that they break up. Do you know anything about the HDR-CGB?
So I've engaged a couple of times. I've been to the Wallace Rally, so that's run by. Put on by Caledonia, so they break into regions, don't they? So I think they break up their regions across the way. Chatting again to one of our previous guests, Phil Stickins, he's a member. I think he's Region 22, which is around Malvern and the West Midlands. So I have a rough idea of what they do and what they're about. Just no, much like what you were talking about earlier, no first-hand experience, Kenny.
Yeah, so he was telling me that as a club, as in the HDR-CGB generally, they made quite a sizable contribution to the cottage, which I wasn't aware of, actually. Really interesting guy and, very, very friendly guy as well. I'm going to be honest, I have sort of spoke to one or two people in HDR-CGB, and the second I say HOG in the HOG-POD, they just kind of closed down on me. So it was really nice. So he rang me up basically saying, I've got your number on a beer mat and I'm trying to get access to the cottage up in Scotland. So I said, yeah, no worries, made all the connect with them, etc. Yeah. And I said to him, can I ask you something? And he goes, yeah. I said, I run a podcast and I'd love to get some of your guys onto the podcast. And he was like, yeah, of course. I said, I have tried before, but didn't, kind of hit a bit of a brick wall. And he goes, all right, which one is it? And I said, oh, it's HOG-POD.
Yeah.
And I said, that is exactly the response I got previously. And anyway, he chatted away to me, lovely guy. And I'm hoping to actually get a bit of a chat with some of their folk, which would be interesting because it's just something I don't know anything about, HDR-CGB, although they've a huge presence, right across across the country. Yeah. And again, I've said this before, in HOG, you kind of think HOG is everything, don't you? And it's a massive part, absolute massive part. And I'm unashamedly HOG all the way through.
While I'm sat wearing a HOG t-shirt. Not
exactly.
Planned. Yeah. You are right, though. So there is a whole world outside of HOG, and HOG is delivering what it does, and it hits the market it brings you in and includes you. And if it works for you, it's quite difficult to look outside of it sometimes, I think. But you have got other organisations out there. I would say there are a good deal of people that are members of both, and I think they dip in and take and put in, and I think it works. There's just you get caught in your own little microclimate, don't you? And I sometimes describe things like snow globes. You're in there, somebody gives it a shake, and the glitter puffs up, and you're enjoying the magic in the middle, and you don't look outside the glass. And I think if you're not careful, there's a whole world out there that you could be getting involved with, and it will offer you an alternative. Not always a better thing in either direction. I'm sure there's members of the riding club that look at us and think, wow, dafties. And I think there's probably members of HOG that are like, why would you want to go outside of this world? But there is definitely things out there for people. Different rallies as well. There's a huge world of rallies out there that whilst I'm aware of them, I haven't attended any of them. I need to maybe look at that, have a think about it properly. You said about Thunder earlier, I was getting dog's abuse while I was up at Thunder. So I have a friend of mine who was allegedly my doppelganger. That's how we came into being aware of each other. He bumped into my friends in Prague. I got a drunken text telling me, Ben, this is your doppelganger. The only thing we actually share is a name. He's also called Ben. He's part of a group. And again, there we go. He's part of a group that's nothing to do with HOG. They're called the Wibbly Wobbly MC. Second C is important. And Ben goes to all these random rallies and he's telling me about it, and it sounds incredible. There's one problem, as he likes to point out all the time. I don't like to trench in, I like to check in. So if there's not a hotel at a rally, I'm going to struggle to pitch a tent and turn up. I'm soft. I'm not a proper biker. I like my heated grips, my sat-nav, my music, and a check-in desk.
You've had that quite a bit over the weekend. I think you're still a little bit sore from it.
Yeah. It might be a slight trigger for me at the moment. Yeah.
You have camped.
No, twice. I was about to say once. No, if you're listening, Ben, I've camped twice. So sack it off, mate. I don't just go to hotels. I have camped twice, but the second time, I'm not sure we can actually call that camping. Because when we arrived, yes, I was in a tent. You were there too. And your feet do look like they've been dug up. But we didn't pitch it, we didn't transport it, and we didn't take it down either. So I don't know if I can count that.
Yeah, well, either way, you're a repeat offender of camping. So, Ben, leave Ben alone.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, Ben. Leads us on nicely, though, to other rallies. So I was looking at, and again, this is me trying to sort of look a little bit further out of the snow globe, which I've been in. The mag rallies. Yeah, so I was speaking to a fella in Tim Hortons, of all places, not far from where I live. I was in getting some sort of salad in a pitta roll, I'm sure, and got chatting away. He's a member of the Belfast chapter, and we started talking about the farmyard party, which I hadn't really heard of. I'd heard of the Yorkshire Pudding Rally. And then the other one, which you're going to remind me of now, I know we spoke about it before, it's the one that's straight after Thunder.
Yep, Storming the Castle. So that's taking place this weekend in the home of the Pink Panther. Durham, 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 Durham.
Durham, Durham, Durham.
Yep. So it happens in Durham. I've got, again, a good number of friends that are going. It sounds fantastic. I really do need to check it out. They're very specific on things. You walk in or you ride in, unless you have other requirements that necessitate a different vehicle. So they are very much about the motorcycling. The bands, their live music on offer. When I look at the program and I see all the pictures, the bands look fantastic. Hobgoblin's quite heavily involved with Storming the Castle. So cracking beer will be available there as well. They have regular camping. They have glamping, so I'm informed. It looks cool. Looks like a real sort of vibe. There's a castle, not a real castle. They put up a castle, so you enter through like a portcullis with gates and things like that. And I think the numbers that go is massive. I think it's a huge attendance.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at their website here as we speak for this Storming the Castle one. And as with all of these, with that and then the mag ones as well, I was looking at earlier on, they all have this very specific selling point of clean toilets and clean showers. So that should be you hooked.
Yeah, as long as there's divides in the showers. That's my other caveat.
Did we tell the story of that, actually, did we?
I can't remember. I have a feeling it's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a fella that's been around fellas and raised around fellas and worked among big groups of guys, you kind of do everything together: shit, shower, shave, the whole shebang all together. And we were at this particular rally and went across to go and get a shower. Me and Ben went across together. There's nothing weird about this so far. And we get into the shower block, and Ben goes in and goes, "Oh, you go in first, mate." I was like, "Oh, no worries." I thought there was only one shower. Yeah. Walked in and there was 20 shower heads in a loop. And I went back out and I said, "Go first." "What do you mean? Are you thinking I'm going to run around this to get wet?" And he goes, No. I don't like getting showered with other people. So I've never had so many shower heads to myself. So I actually did switch them all on and run around. And Ben, bless him, waited outside for me until I was done. And then he went in to get showered. And I had to stand guard outside so no one else went in.
Well, I knew you were finished because you came out like Pingu. Sliding on your belly to the bench. I don't know why it's a surprise, though. I don't even like being hugged.
Yeah.
So I am a huge fan of space, and I explain this all the time, both outer and personal. So I'm highly unlikely to get naked with another human being other than my wife and then go and shower. So no, I was a gentleman. I waited outside, let you have your moment, and then you kindly stood guard for me as well. Yeah. So clean showers are important. Cubicles next.
So I'm not sure whether it's cubicles or heads, but I think you get your own toilet cubicle, so that will please you no end. But the one that I'm particularly interested in is the Yorkshire pudding or the farmyard party, and we are going to say now that we're going to go to one of those together next year, and we're going to get in touch, and we're going to try and record one of these and go and have a look and see what it's all about and see how they are similar to and differ to the only rallies that I have known.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing and what's really stood out for me looking at them and talking to people, there's a couple of things in terms of how the rallies that we're used to. The first question I'm always asked when I describe a rally that I go to that's a hog rally, is it open? And for a long time, it didn't click what that meant, because obviously I ride a Harley, you ride a Harley, all of our friends ride Harleys. So we're always hanging out with people on Harleys, and you just think that's the only motorcycle in the planet. And a lot of people don't realise you can turn up to hog rallies on other motorcycles, whereas mag... there's no question, is there? It's all varieties of motorcycle. It's everything there, and there's never a question, because it's not. I think because it's not associated to a specific mark or brand. I think the mag rallies are maybe more accessible to other bikers. They feel that they can turn up without needing to ask the question of, "Can I come in?"
Yeah, no, definitely want to have a look. I mean, there's the Yorkshire Pudding Rally. Being a Yorkshire lad, near York. And then the other one is in Helmsley there. There is another one called Into the Valley. And you have to excuse my my geography here. It's obviously in North Yorkshire somewhere. Driffield.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Is
so,
Driffield North Yorkshire?
Well, it's a YO postcode.
Maybe it is then. I think it's only just if it is.
Yeah, so Helmsley is Yorkshire.
That's
York.
proper Yorkshire.
Yeah, that's YO62, and Driffield is YO62.
Ah, right, yeah, maybe it is then. My geography's not that good. In my defence, I left Yorkshire in 2007, and I only go back at birthdays, Christmases, and special occasions.
Well, if you are from Driffield listening to us too, saying what a pair of twats, you would, of course, be correct.
Yes.
And
Sorry, Driffield.
We will do better. But no, definitely want to go and have a look at one of these. So that's all camping as well, isn't it? I know you want to be close to home, don't you?
So we did discuss this, and I am good with either the farmyard or the Yorkshire pudding because it's within 30 minutes of my parents' house. So if I have that mad panic and I can't deal with canvas, or I really do need a cubicle to myself, I can zip on my bike and go home.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully Mum won't mind me coming across because my own parents did, obviously, so I couldn't go to there.
Hang on.
41 minutes, nearly.
Yay, 41 minutes in. Thanks, Kenny.
41 minutes. That's a new personal best, that one.
Tell your therapist it's worth the money. You're getting there. You're extending these intervals now. Well done.
The last one for me for not hog is Big Ben with even bigger Jim Hamilton. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Jim Hamilton, rugby player, podcast host, does lots of talks. Rugby is obviously what he's famous for, but we met each other a couple of years ago now at Thunder, and it was when I was lining up for the ride out. He was looking at bikes, so he was trying to work out what Harley he fancied. Me being me, mouth open, brain not thinking, aye mate, just go jump on my Harley, that's not a problem, you're welcome to it. My bike has never looked so small in its life. On the boards, he has over a 90-degree bend in his knee. When he reaches out to my highway pegs, there's still a bend in the leg. Thinking nothing of it, took a selfie with him, sent it to my wife, obviously didn't check it. She was like, is that man stood on a curb? I was like, no, that man was on the same level as I was, maybe slightly downhill, in fact. He's massive. So I bumped into him again this weekend. He's 6'9", and I thought I was average height at 5'10". Big man, really big character, lovely bloke though. Like, actually, to have the patience to stand and talk to me in a car park at a bike rally at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, says a lot about a man's character, is what I would say to you. So we had a good chat. I am going to try and pinch him and get him on here to have a good chat with us about that transition from rugby into Harleys, into attending Thunder and other rallies that he's involved in and things like that. So I think he'll be a cracking man to have a chat with. Need to do a few things. So it's who you know, isn't it? And that world that we move around into. Someone who goes to school with my kids, their mom is the host at Murrayfield. So I remembered when we were talking about plans and where we were going, I was like, I'm sure I know a rugby player, and I'm sure I know someone that will know that rugby player. So I had a chat with him, and he was like, yeah, not a problem, get in contact with me. And I was like, well, I've got your agent's email, I'll do that for you. He's like, no, mate, it's fine, just send me an Instagram. I've been busy since I got back, so that is on my to-do list. Tomorrow I will be Instagramming, and hopefully we'll have a guest, very tall guest.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, here's the picture. It is, there you go. That's Ben. That's Ben when he was 5, meeting his dad for the first time. I couldn't get over how big he was. I mean, you're not a small guy, Ben.
No.
You know, you're not a small fella. Yeah. He is humongous. Can you imagine him coming at you full tilt trying to take the ball?
No.
Would you not just hand it over?
Absolutely. Well, we need to get a chat about this anyway, talking about rugby, and I was going to save it in case we managed to get there. But being a rugby league fan, are you sure you fully understand what it's like for a proper rugby player to be running at you?
So I do, because in the proper rugby, you have 5 attempts, and then you have to hand the ball over. So I did say, so my pop-in-law is a massive rugby fan, and I sort of mentioned it to him. I said, you ever heard of, and he just looked at me and goes, have I ever heard of Big Jim Hamilton? He goes, yeah, I've heard of Big Jim Hamilton. And I said, we might better get him on the podcast. And he says he's a rugby guy. I said, yeah, but he's coming into the world of motorcycles. Yeah. I was watching one of his videos where he's with your man that does the Black Bear brand. Again, link will be in here. And he was talking about, this is Jim, talking about how he'd sort of discovered motorcycles and, you know, was looking at trying to get into the motorcycling world with the tattoos and the facial hair but I don't think you can find a bike big enough for him.
So when he sat on my street glide, I was looking at it thinking, you're going to have to buy 2, mate, and weld the one onto the back of the other and probably still sit on the pillion seat. I think the only person that might make a bike look smaller is Shaq.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was he riding a Breakout as well?
He was, yeah. So he rode the Breakout. Interesting choice. But I suppose actually maybe for a taller person that would work, because you've got that sort of clamshell riding position. Yeah, so your arms are out, your legs are out. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was a wee chuckle I had when I saw that picture. But hopefully we'll get him on anyway. And if you're a fan of rugby, you probably know this guy. And if you haven't already, definitely take a listen to his The Big Jim Show. He gets a lot of the sports personality. The most recent episode was with a boxer an old boxer who. It was just a fantastic episode. And he's also done an episode with Foxy, Jason Fox from SES Who Dares Wins, which I think he's a cracking guy. So again, we'll put a link in there below. And if you're just interested in sports people generally and a podcast about sports people, he's definitely worth having a listen to. On the hog side of stuff, we've a couple of things coming up. I think first and foremost is the end of season triple bill. And I know you're probably going to go triple bill. That's right. 3 rallies on the same weekend. The first question is how?
So that was the first thing I said to you. I was quite surprised by that. I think calendars clash sometimes, don't they? There are only so many weekends in a year. And we're not as fortunate as other countries where we have a hugely long riding season. So I guess occasionally you're going to bump into each other, aren't they? I'm sure you're about to tell us where they all are. We spoke about earlier and talk about geography. Mine's not that good. I know one's on Jersey.
Yeah, so you've got the hogs hogs around the rock, which is the Jersey one. You have the Dragon Fever with the Welsh Dragon guys, and then you have and I'm gonna give it a go. Okay, Lindum Concursum.
I believe that to be correct.
That's two things in one episode. Love it.
Yep.
And they're all across the weekend, Friday the 12th through to the Sunday. The Jersey one, particularly after what happened with their dealership, that's a fair effort to resurrect that, because I think they took a year off on the rally. So to have it, certainly have it still going, given the geographic challenges, I suppose, of Jersey. Because I mean, certainly for me, it's going to be two boats. It has to be two boats, or one big one from Ireland potentially, but I don't actually think so. But even from the mainland, it's a fair old ride to get to Jersey. Or
a big swim.
Or a big swim, with your Harley in tow.
On my shoulders, extra air in your tyres, mate. That's the key to success. Not dropping it because it's a hardtail. Increase it so it floats.
There you go. But have you ever been to the Dragon Fever or the Lindum Concursum rally?
I haven't been to either, but I have to say I think it'd be a really hard one to choose this time. So I've hung out with both chapters at different events, and you've just got a cracking group of people at both. I wouldn't be able to choose.
Yeah, the Jersey one tickles me, to be honest with you. I quite fancy the idea of the Jersey one, but I'd need a pass for about a week to get to that one, I think, because obviously you're going to need a few days either side of that to get there. But obviously, listen, guys, best of luck. I'm sure by this stage of the year that you are nearly sold out, or certainly you've sold all the tickets you're going to sell at this point in the year. And we look forward to seeing all the pictures and the videos. In fact, if you are going to any of them, particularly the Jersey one, can you tag us in on the pictures and the videos, because I'd love to see even the island of Jersey itself. I've never been. Apparently, it's lovely. Apparently, there's a lot of money there as well, Ben. So I wouldn't fit in, but maybe you'd be okay.
No, I don't think so. The rumours aren't true. Although more grief about a paddock again this weekend. I don't know what else to call it. I have my back garden, and then I have a bit of land above that is my paddock. But everyone seems to find it highly amusing when I describe it.
This paddock, is that the one behind the east wing or the one behind the west wing?
Neither. And do they call it Rocklow? Because there's quite a few chapters that call it ROC and get really befuddled when you say rock.
Yeah, see, I call it Hog Rock, and apparently that's wrong as well.
Yeah. So they had hot training at one point, didn't they? So that was Harley officers training. And then Rock is obviously regional officer connections. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we can refer to it as both.
Yeah,
You're definitely going.
We'll call it Rock. Yeah, flights have been booked. So I've kind of done Fortune Favours the Brave, and I've booked my flights.
Yeah, you're seeking forgiveness.
Just going to take a punt here, yeah. Because I didn't go to the last one, but I went to the one before it, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed all of the workshops and all of the stuff during the daytime. The only downside was 5 o'clock. In fact, it was with you, actually, 2 for 1 on espresso martinis at 5 o'clock in the afternoon with David Mack.
Yeah. I blame Mr. McPherson. It had nothing to do with me.
I think I actually said to his good lady, and I quote, "What is the worst that can happen with 2 for 1 espresso martinis at 5 p.m.?" Mm-hmm. Got a really long story short. We'll fast forward to when we were topless in
Snobs.
Oh, Snobs.
Yep, it's a Birmingham institution.
Yep, if you're from Brum, then you'll know Snobs. Well, anyway, we all ended up in there. Ben thought it would be a great idea to take his top off, which then made it. Sorry,
I was hot.
It was hot. Yeah,
it was logical to take my t-shirt off.
Yeah, Michael was with us, the Belfast director. We watched you take yours off, and you saw about 5 or 6 guys just computing Yeah. Tops off, but they've always got great speakers. They've always got these breakout rooms. And I mean, listen, it's a networking event basically, isn't it? And for me, it's a cost of a flight and just a couple of days. It would be great to have you there, Ben. If you can.
I'm going to see what happens. Obviously, we have a new committee at Clyde Valley. I've been fortunate enough to land as the rally coordinator, which makes me sound very posh. But there are officers that haven't been before. So I think in terms of that, you prioritise them because you're right. It's all to do with connections. And I am fortunate to know at least a name in every chapter. They quite often know mine. Some of them talk to me the second time. I might get lucky and have that conversation. So that is the biggest thing, isn't it? I mean, the training sessions, don't get me wrong, they put a lot of work into that. And the guys that facilitate them evidently are passionate about what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about. My understanding of algorithms is so much better, even with Pabs's translation on things and having those chats. I get the algorithms far better having sat in that session and got my head around it. I daren't say it. I've been to the Leeds Harley training. I'm not trying to take over or join, just make that clear. I started going because Elaine Shepherd ran it. And Elaine Shepherd is a phenomenal lady in the subject of you use the phrase rally furniture. I'm not comfortable in saying that. I just don't know quite how it lands. You get away with it because you're a cheeky chappy and you've got that smile when you say it. Rally furniture scares me slightly. She's an institution and a force of nature would be the words that I would use. And I am being careful, by the way, because Nairi came up to me at Thunder and said, "Powerhouse?" I said, "Well, you are." There was no insult in Powerhouse. So I'm being very careful. John Power doesn't like headmaster. We're not gonna refer to John as a headmaster again. I've had to dig myself out of that hole a couple of times. It was meant as a compliment. There was nothing else in it. So I started going to the LOH session because of Elaine Shepherd and that wisdom and what she was sharing. And I just kind of carried on going because actually it is interesting to know, isn't it? And I think it's important, given what LOH is there for. It's there to bring ladies into riding and it's there to make them feel welcome. It's good to be there to know that you're not stepping on toes that you shouldn't be stepping on or saying something perfectly innocently that then causes offence. So that's why I've continued to go to that one. I've done the events training when I've been there as well. That's really useful to know about things. And I suppose in my new role, there's a lot there that would be good to just touch base with and keep up to speed with in the sort of events world. I have a background in event management, but I'm now a nurse and it's been a while. So there's obviously always things that are brought up. But as you pointed out, the biggest thing is those connections. And funnily enough, you weren't there, but the first year I went, it landed on my birthday. And I ended up talking about being a nurse. Unfortunately, one of the attendants fell and really quite badly injured themselves. So I spent my birthday in the corridor outside nursing a lovely chap called Brandon, and he was at Thunder. And it's just one of those random connections, isn't it? So I haven't seen him for years. Spoke to him a little bit. He sent me a couple of bottles of rum. You don't need to thank me for doing my job, but if you do want to thank me for doing my job, rum is a good way of doing that. And then, saw him up at Thunder. Didn't get a chance to actually catch up with him properly just because how busy it is, but just seeing that face and having that conversation, they're the connections that are incredible. And you get it more so at Rock, I think, because you've got more time with people and it's really focused in the daytime on networking, learning, and then it's still good fun. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be HOG without some form of party somewhere. So the nighttime event is cracking. That in itself, again, good entertainment, good food, more networking, slightly more easy networking maybe, because as you said, Mr. McPherson with his 2-for-1 espresso martinis, that helps break down the barriers. Yeah,
if you've spent any time in my company, you've probably gathered that I am quite partial to a shot. Love one or two shots. And it was Amy Sparrow at the time who was top of the tree. And for those of you that know Amy, and for those of you that don't but have seen her, she built like the side of a £10 note. And it was the usual scenario. I'm asking everyone, do they want a shot? They're all saying, I'm just trying to get my breakfast. So the answer was no. To say, anyone wanting shots, no one wanted to know. So I did my usual party trick of getting one person to have a shot with me. And then we went and got a person each. So we had 4. And then they went and got a person each, and we got 8. And before we knew it, I think there was, whatever the square number is, I think it was 90 odd shots were laid out across a bar one year. It was absolute carnage, but really, really good fun. If you are this is to use their words, if you are a current officer or aspiring to be an officer, have a look at ROC. Have a word with your chapter director or chapter team. Try and get yourself there. There were rooms available the other day. We're recording on Tuesday. I'm not sure if they're still available or not, but look forward to seeing you there if you are going, and stay away from me if you don't like shots.
And just to avoid any confusion, because we both refer to it as ROC, but there are some people that call it ROC, which always confuses me. But it's either ROC or ROC, whatever it is a cracking event, and absolutely get there, get involved with it. And like you say, you don't actually have to be an officer to attend. I think it helps, and I think there's definitely things geared up for you, but seeing what's involved as an officer, I think, is also a crucial part of making that decision before you jump in with both feet.
Well, everyone, that's wrapping up another episode, the week that was. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just a couple of things just to stick onto your radar. Keep an eye out on the HOG-POD socials and website. We have a 3-part series on the Game of Thrones riding tour over here in Northern Ireland. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones or a fan of riding your motorcycle, then you're going to absolutely love that. And secondly, can't say too much just now, but can you please stick in Island Bike Fest, which is in Killarney, into your diaries, whether it's your chapter diary, whether it's your own riding diary. There is something really, really special happening next year. It's the 20th year since the 2006 Euro Festival, and it's definitely one not to miss. I know there's announcements about it coming out shortly. In fact, I am flying to Killarney in the next week or two to go and assist with part of it. I'm super excited. I know that you will love it. So stick it on your diary. It's the last bank holiday in May 2026. Dates are flashing up on your screen now. Further details will be in the description below. But Ben, it's great to see you again, mate, as always. Gutted I wasn't in Thunder with you. Glad you made it out in one piece.
I did. I was wholesale, and Killarney, it's already in my diary. I've got permission from the wife, so it's happening. I'll be there. Mr. Power can stop moaning about me living in Northern Ireland when I come to visit. I'll be there.
Excellent. There'll be no headmaster talks from Mr. Power then.
Hopefully not.
Okay, guys, catch you next week.
See you soon.